Just as digital music was trying to find its footing, the iPod came along in 2001 and changed the way we listen to music. Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Apple's portable music player put thousands of songs in our pockets and drastically shifted the way we consumed our favorite songs. So how did we get here? Welcome to Context TV. History lesson. Though Apple got most of the credit, Kane Kramer actually invented his iXi digital audio player back in 1979. Kramer eventually failed to cover costs for his patent, however, which opened the market to dozens of devices from South Korea and North America. The Diamond Rio was one of the first popular MP3 players in the 1990s and featured a solid set of controls. Additional jukebox players from Hango, Creative, and Arcos pushed internal memory over 1,000 songs, while also offering various menu and display formats. But Apple released the first iPod in 2001 and helped its accessibility by expanding compatibility to Windows systems in 2002.
iTunes for Windows is probably the best Windows app ever written.
Though Microsoft followed up with their Zen player in 2004 and later the Zune, both started far too late to catch up with the iPod's momentum. What was missing? Before the iPod, many MP3 devices were either too small on memory and power or simply too big to be practical. Several players at the time were also notorious for their obnoxious music navigation, which turned playing songs into a chore. Under Steve Jobs, John Rubinstein assembled a team with Tony Fadell, Michael Dewey, and now Sir Jonathan Ive to design a player modeled after old transistor radios and phones. The first iPod boasted 5 GB of storage in a sleek size and shape for the time, while its button and screen layout made the most of its relatively small body. Though the initial $399 price was fairly daunting, it solved enough issues to justify the bill. So many models. The original iPod had 5 to 10 gigs of space, but expanded over the years to offer up to 160 gigabytes of memory. By the time the original line was redubbed the iPod Classic, it had seen several makeovers and eventually included every button on its click wheel. 2004's iPod Mini shrunk things down but reduced memory, while the iPod Nano became the tinier but affordable follow-up. Apple even put out the minimalist iPod Shuffle, which eliminated the screen altogether while lowering the price and the memory size yet again. They would, however, offer voice commands on later models, so you could essentially navigate a shuffle without always randomizing songs.
And so if I want to get in the iPod, I just go down that lower right-hand corner and push this icon right here, and boom, I'm in the iPod.
In 2007, the iPhone presented an expensive but mainstream option to the smartphone market. The simplified interface appealed to the mass market while still offering iPod-like music curation. The iPod Touch was its non-cellular touchscreen cousin and allowed users to download music directly onto their device for the first time. This internet and app focus started to lean away from just playing songs and would mark Apple's shift away from music-only players. iTunes and selling digital music. Ahead of Apple's steps into the music world, there was a minimal digital landscape for music. Aside from importing CDs, digital sales were limited and often had many proprietary obstacles for portable devices. After Apple acquired SoundJam, it launched iTunes as a media center and iPod client in 2001. The iTunes Store launched in 2003 and was temporarily the only online retailer that featured music from all 5 major record labels. The store drove the online music market by offering songs instead of full albums, which eventually hurt the physical music market. When the Beatles finally released their music on iTunes in 2010, many famous artists followed suit as well. Though iTunes itself has received plenty of critiques, it still remains one of the most convenient media hubs for organizing songs. As a one-stop software for all your music that also had the option to shuffle through everything, iTunes was a computer-based jukebox for many users. Marketing and experience. Efficient and snazzy-looking products weren't the only thing selling iPods, however, since Apple's unique ads and commercials helped them turn heads. Their silhouette ads always focused on dancers enjoying their product, with people grooving to different songs. Though the campaign started out with more popular music tracks, they would later pick obscure songs with on-the-nose lyrics to highlight a feature like touchscreens and games. Almost every series featured a strong earworm track, which could make viewers excited just to see the commercial again. The silhouettes also allowed them to go minimal on sets while creating a distinct visual style that earned quite a few parodies. Some ads featured U2, Coldplay, Eminem, and Paul McCartney, while Apple even used Feist's 1234 video to show off new color schemes. Whether it was dancing or using their products for fashion, Apple's legacy of strong marketing took the iPod higher and higher. Show us the money.
1,000 songs in your pocket, $399.
So what about the numbers? Between 2002 and 2003, Apple managed modest sales of under 1 million units per year. As of 2004, however, things exploded to 4.4 million iPods, then jumped exponentially to 22 and then 39 million over the next 2 years. This was also around the time that Apple introduced color screens and focused more marketing on their more affordable iPods like the Shuffle and Nano. By then, the music players constituted up to 40% of total revenue in a given year. Sales peaked around 2008, with over 50 million units sold per year, as the iPhone then started to become Apple's big seller. Despite the diminishing music player sales, Apple was still able to sell tens of millions of iPods over the following years. As of 2012, they'd sold almost 350 million iPods. In 2014, Apple celebrated hitting 35 billion songs sold through iTunes, and the iPhone was starting to sell as many units per quarter as iPods once sold per year at their peak. It's worth noting that Apple's iPhone success also popularized the smartphone as a consumer product, rather than just a business item. Even with a daunting $500 price tag, the touchscreen and ease of use helped it eclipse the iPod. As of 2017, the iPod Touch was the last remaining iPod Apple produced, as they moved away completely from a music-only device. Time to accessorize. Once the iPod really took off, third-party manufacturers wanted to get in on the action. Griffin Technologies was manufacturing accessories for the music player within a year of its release. Soon, others like JBL, Bose, and Belkin joined in with cases, speaker adapters, car chargers, and other products to capitalize on Apple's huge market. By 2005, car manufacturers like Volvo and BMW were also advertising iPod-compatible cars. Apple, of course, has seen plenty of copycats on the iPod, as well as hundreds of knockoff earbuds. And Apple developed their own line of wall chargers and accessories too. Their earbuds have added microphones over the years, gone wireless, and have transformed to use the proprietary Lightning cable. It's a testament to Apple's massive sales that they have even attempted an Apple-only headphone. Competition breeds excellence. While the iPod has more or less dominated the music player market for over a decade, there have always been alternatives. The Zune started to gain steam thanks to additional features and compatibility that Apple didn't offer. However, the iPod's head start kept demand for the Zune low and forced Microsoft to drop their prices. Additional players from SanDisk, Creative, and Feo offered competitive prices and higher quality audio in some cases. Sony's digital Walkman line offered upwards of 256 gigs of memory and high-fidelity music, but charged as much as $4,000 for their premium models. Neil Young even tried pushing for better sound and SD card options with the Pono player. Unfortunately, the Pono launched in 2014 when most people had moved to smartphones and streaming was on the rise. Though it's unclear how much these products influenced Apple to improve, they certainly showed how much marketing and timing affected sales. The bottom line.
Here we are. So you can see my finger there. I bite my fingernails, so.
No matter who else tried to break into the portable music world, Apple revolutionized the industry and eventually put it to bed themselves. By valuing style and accessibility first and foremost, the iPod stood tall next to hundreds of other music player options, and often performed better too. And what's more, Apple's success shifted the world towards digital music, as people started to appreciate the convenience of carrying thousands of songs around with constant availability. Whatever your opinions on Apple, the iPod was a breakthrough product that undoubtedly set the standard for music players and changed the world of music forever. Check out these other great clips from Context TV, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell about our latest videos.